The mining sector has had quite a bit of momentum this year, but could the miners be doing more? We're discussing this today with Lee Hodgkinson. He's the National Industry Leader for Canada for KPMG. We're here at the Mines and Money Conference in Toronto, so what a setting to talk about this, quite timely. Good to have you on the show, Lee.
Glad to be here.
So I want to start on the M&A front. Let's talk about mergers and acquisitions here.
Okay.
And that KPMG found that 2/3 of North American M&A deals failed to deliver value to the acquirer, and in fact, an astounding 39% actually reduced value to the acquirer.
I know.
Some big figures here.
Yeah, no, quite shocking statistics. I think the reason behind that is that what tended to happen, and that isn't mining specific, that was a general cross full sector, so I don't think that data is purely related to the mining industry. But I think what our survey found was that people hadn't done appropriate due diligence and planning, and more importantly, there wasn't really a merger integration plan to effectively realize the synergies. And very often one of the issues that just goes, it's a soft issue, it's a hidden issue, is the cultural issues of putting two companies together. And if people don't properly address that, then it can be a disaster putting two companies together.
Now, it is an industry-wide survey, but how much of that rings true for mining, do you feel?
I think mining faces a lot of the similar issues. In some ways it can avoid the issues because you're not putting necessarily two corporate entities together. Sometimes you don't get the synergies in a mining environment because the mines are where they are. You can't close one mine down and move all the production to another. So some of those issues I think don't exist. But I think it faces the same issues in terms of taking account of the cultural issues, the merger integration issues. You have a mine that has been run by a major company, a BHP, a Rio Tinto, and it's acquired and then operated by a much smaller company. Culturally, they can be very different. And what we've seen in the last few years is a lot of the major companies, as they've sought to repair their balance sheets, to sell off assets, and it tends to be some of the smaller companies who are buying them. And there's a lot of hidden cultural issues as they take on those assets.
So mining stocks have had a great year, some up over 100%, and some up over 200%. How do you feel they should best position themselves here?
Hold their course. Very much hold their course. Rick Rule said this morning, it was a great quote from Warren Buffett, I think, which is, the time to be brave is when everyone else is afraid, and the time to be afraid is when everyone else is brave. And there's perhaps people are being brave again now. The stocks have come up a lot. They're still not at the level of where they were. So we're not all the way back by any means. There's been a great focus on cost reduction and managing costs and protecting the margins, a focus on free cash flow. I think it's critical that companies keep their eye on the ball and they don't get carried away and they don't let the costs creep up again.
Lee Hodgkinson, so good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us today here at Mines and Money, and thanks for watching our coverage here from the conference. We'll have more for you on Kitco.com.